is Shaher Bano, and I'm a performing arts teacher. I teach drama in Focus High School, Hyderabad. And, this is my third year of teaching. I used to teach English earlier, and since last year, I'm teaching performing arts. So moving on to the questions now, the first question that I have is, how are you feeling? It obviously feels amazing to be able to achieve something. If you know where you stand, to know your standing, and also it's an overwhelming feeling in terms of the CENTA TPO being an international level Olympiad. So yes, it feels great. The next question that I had was, how was the experience? This was my first time that I attempted the TPO. Last year was the pandemic year, so we didn't really take up the TPO. I had a chance in 2019, but I don't know, I missed it somehow. So this was my first time taking up the TPO. And I believe the format of the test was also changed from the previous year's format. What I felt was it was certainly different from a test, the notion of a test that you have in mind. The questions were very real in terms of what actually happens in a classroom while delivering a lesson. So there were a lot of classroom scenarios and things related to the classroom. So yeah, I like the way the questions were framed, and it helped me reflect on my own practices. So yeah, it was good. As I said, this was my first time CENTA TPO. The next question is about the competencies. Our school always has, we get a job description every year before the school opens for the fresh academic year. So we have a detailed job description along with the competencies, and we also have monthly appraisal ratings. So we consciously work on improving and enhancing our competencies on a daily basis, everyday basis. The competencies that are there in our job description matches to a huge extent with the competencies of CENTA. So in a way, I would say that these were ingrained in us since the beginning. The next question, I think I missed the next question. Let me just. Next question was, do you see a difference in your competencies because of CENTA TPO? Yes, I agree. As I said earlier, the scenarios that were there were very relatable, very classroom-like. So when I have things happening again, I put myself again as if I'm attempting a TPO, and what answer would I give? And I try and do the same thing in my classroom also. Would you recommend taking CENTA TPO to other teachers? Yes, why not? I mean, if they're up to it, I feel teachers need to be updated. They should be abreast of whatever is happening. You know, we don't get the same batch of students every year, and we can't use the same strategies for years and years since the generation changes. So I think for that reason, it is important that we adapt ourselves, we take up new challenges, and one of those challenges is CENTA TPO. Well, the next question, how has CENTA helped your career growth or professional development? As I said earlier, we have as part of our job description, we are required to maintain a certain standard in terms of our everyday classroom delivery. So I am making conscious effort to do that in every class of mine. Moving on, the next question is, what is your teaching background? Well, I started teaching quite recently. This is my third year of teaching. I am a MA B.Ed graduate. My main subjects during B.Ed were social studies and English. Since this is an IB school, we have something like, we have a subject called performing arts. And since last year, I am taking performing arts, and I find the subject to be quite challenging. And I feel as if in some way I was meant to teach performing arts. I can relate. In fact, I can say that it has become my second skin now. So teaching drama is quite enjoyable, and I am having fun as a performing arts teacher. What do you like doing outside of teaching? Well, I do a lot of things such as reading. I enjoy reading a lot, and I also enjoy cooking, trying out, experimenting with different cuisines, and that it gives me a thrill of coming up with something. Yeah, reading, cooking, socializing, talking to people is something that I love doing outside of teaching. What helps you cater to different needs of your students? Every class has got different students with different needs, and there are different strategies that you need to adopt to be able to cater to these students. What I usually do is I listen to my students. I observe them carefully, and I make sure I develop a rapport with them to be able to understand them better. I build a rapport. I work on it consciously, and then I look at, let's say, a student is struggling in memorization. So I share different techniques of memorization with them, in addition to what I already do with the rest of the class. So I believe listening to my students and observing them is the key. Yeah.